I am making this video to expose the way social services have conspired with North Yorkshire Police to discredit my daughter in an attempt to ensure the police officer who sexually abused her is not brought to justice. The police have known for months now that one of their officers raped my daughter. I told 2 police officers on the 15th of July that my ex-partner had not only abused my daughter, he had also let both our neighbours abuse her too, and one of these men is a police officer. Several police officers have been given this information now, including the police commissioner. Yet the police have failed to take any action. Social services, however, did take action against my daughter. We spoke to PC Willingham on the Friday. On the Monday, I received an email from Kate Radford, Ashley's social worker, stating, "Since a safeguarding concern has been raised, social services have a duty of care to conduct a capacity assessment which is legally required and still needs to be completed with Ashley." This statement is a complete and utter lie. There is no legal requirement for social services to carry out a capacity assessment when a safeguarding concern is raised. Which begs the question why a social worker decided to come for my daughter's capacity as soon as the police were informed a North Yorkshire police officer had sexually abused her. Principle 1 of the Mental Capacity Act is to assume a person has capacity unless proved otherwise. The Mental Capacity Act looks to empower people and ensure the rights of individuals are protected. It is not a tool given to social workers to bully and manipulate, and it is certainly not there to silence vulnerable young people who speak out about abuse. I responded to Kate's email, calling her out for lying. She was abusing her position of power by trying to discredit my daughter. I told Kate that I knew Selby College had told social services that Ashley had capacity when they put a referral into social services after Ashley had disclosed being abused to them. I told her that Ashley had met with a psychologist and other healthcare professionals, some who have known Ashley for years, and I had no doubt they would support me in saying Ashley has capacity. I told her that prior to my daughter's disclosures around physical and sexual abuse, Ashley had attended school and college where there were never any concerns raised around her having capacity. Ashley does not meet any of the normal criteria that may warrant a mental capacity assessment. And although she is blind, there has never been a question around her disability impacting her mental capacity. Until, of course, a police officer was accused of rape. I told Kate that social services needed grounds to request a capacity assessment, and I was horrified at the way they were treating a victim of sexual abuse. I can't begin to express the emotional trauma my daughter has suffered at the hands of social services. Ashley was devastated to receive this email. Like the men who abused her, social services have stripped her of her dignity and failed to show her any respect whatsoever. Following this email, Ashley and I spoke to 2 mental health professionals from the crisis team. As mental health professionals, they were able to speak to Ashley about the Capacity Act and reiterate what I had already told her, that what Kate Radford wrote in her email was completely untrue. Ashley shared with them how distressed she was at this email and at having no contact with her younger brother and sister. The crisis team contacted Kate to let her know just how anxious Ashley was. Kate was informed by me and by mental health professionals that her lies had impacted my daughter's mental health and emotional well-being. Despite knowing this, she remained silent for 3 weeks. On the 10th of August, I emailed the police as I had not heard back from them about the crimes reported on the 15th of July. In this email, I reported a further break-in, the 5th one since serious crimes had been reported to the police in May. I asked why, after nearly 4 weeks, I'd not heard back from the police officers who attended the previous break-in, and asked if the reason the police were failing in their duty to investigate these crimes was because of the complaints I had lodged about police conduct, or whether it was because we had reported a police officer had sexually abused my daughter. Lo and behold, the following day, we received a letter from Kate Radford, again raising the issue of a capacity assessment. In this letter, she stated, "We do have concerns that Ashley may not have the capacity to consent to the safeguarding concern raised due to her difficulty engaging with the police investigation. We must therefore meet with Ashley to carry out a capacity assessment." I was stunned that social services were continuing to come for my daughter's capacity. They had already been caught out and challenged for the blatant lie that a capacity assessment is a legal requirement. For a social worker to suggest that a sexual abuse victim can be targeted and judged for the way they engage with the police, and that social services can then use this against them as justification and grounds for a capacity assessment, is utterly shameful and completely immoral. If a victim of sexual abuse has difficulty engaging with the police, this would not be grounds for a capacity assessment, as Kate Radford knows only too well. There is no way. As a qualified social worker, she doesn't know there are 0 grounds for a capacity assessment, making her complicit in the police and social services attempts to bully and undermine my daughter. Let me now address my daughter's engagement with the police, as social services have tried to use this against her. It was not Ashley's choice to speak to the police. This was forced upon her by social services. She had asked to speak to her social worker to disclose the abuse. Social services knew this and they turned their back on her. Her social worker refused to come and see her, cancelling the appointment she had at the last minute. And because of this, Ashley was forced to speak to the police before she was ready. Ashley gave her statement to the police officer. She was not asked if she wanted an appropriate adult present, and she was asked to sign her statement despite the officer's failure to read it to her first. In light of her being blind, this is something that absolutely should have happened. Ashley then spoke to detectives, and a video interview was arranged. If there had been any concerns around Ashley's capacity, as Kate's letter stated, this would not have happened. Ashley then delayed her video interview, primarily due to her lack of confidence in the lead detective. The only difficulty Ashley had was trusting the police officers to investigate the crimes reported, as they continually failed in their duty to safeguard her and her younger siblings. I have been outraged at the length social services have gone to silence and discredit my daughter. This video covers only a fraction of what social services have put my daughter through. Because Kate did not stop there. She continued to abuse her powers to bully and harass my daughter. We have learnt that when you challenge the police and social services, they only come at you harder. I have been staggered at the level of corruption I have witnessed. But for corruption to continue, you need individuals willing to stand by and do nothing. I will not stand by and do nothing. I will speak out because I believe the promise I made to my daughter. Her voice matters. The police and social services will not succeed in silencing her.